What's up, guys? It is Super Barbie Star Mom. And I wanted to get on here because I don't know about y'all, but my freaking news feeds and all that stuff on social media, like my For You, all that stuff, videos and suggestions, I'm seeing nothing but videos about the story about the kid named Karmelo Anthony. Do you know what I'm talking about already? I mean, it is freaking everywhere. But if you don't know what it is, first, before I get into it, please subscribe to my channel and like this video if you like it. Share it, whatever, all that. Or check out any of my other videos. But, so what, if you don't know what the story is with the Karmelo Anthony and the Austin Metcalf, I think is his name. It's a story about a kid at a track meet. This happened last year in 2025 in April. There was like this district-wide or whatever track meet where it was multiple schools there, and they all had tents. Like each school has a tent for their school or whatever. And there was two rivaling schools, or one of the kids from the rivaling school, apparently his team didn't have a tent and it started raining, so he went under another school's tent. And some people saying that, some people are saying that his cousin, the friend, somebody knew him and invited him over there. Nevertheless, this kid winds up from one school, winds up in another school, under another school's tent, sitting on the bleachers. And that's something that's not standard. They said that's not what people do at those track meets. That would be like somebody from one team going into the other team's dugout. So he sits there for a minute, and these two brothers that were both athletes and very high performing students, they were asked to be in charge and hold the fort down because the coach had to go to, a meeting or sign something or sign up for something. I don't know. He had to go do something. And so he said he'd be right back. You guys be in charge. And he goes away. That's when the kid comes and sits down. He sits down under the tent. The two brothers that were put in charge say, "Hey man, you gotta leave. You can't be under our tent." And he doesn't leave. So apparently one of the brothers sort of abandoned the whole thing, but the other one was pretty persistent, saying, "You need to leave. You need to leave." And apparently he was asked to leave like numerous times, not just by the brothers, but by other people in the tent. Everybody was telling him, "You got to leave. You're not in our team. You got to leave." So the one brother approached him and said, "You need to leave." And the kid said, and this is fact because this was like everybody corroborated this. He had his hand in his backpack and he said, "Make me." And then he said, "If you touch me and see what happens." So the guy that was standing up, the one of the twins, is like, look at him with his hand in his bag, like starts taunting him and saying, "Look at him with his hand in his bag. You ain't got nothing in that bag. Quit to act like you are," whatever. I don't know exactly what he was saying, but that's just what I imagined. But he walks up to him and shoved him. Okay, put his hands on his shoulders, shoved him. The kid that was in the wrong tent pulled out a knife and stabbed the twin brother, Austin, in the chest, like in the heart. It hit his heart. And he died. Within minutes. He hit him in the heart and he collapsed. And he pulled up his shirt, and when he saw the wound, it was gaping. For some reason, they were saying there's a certain kind of wound where it was gaping. Like it wasn't like a slit. It was And he's like, I've been stabbed. And then his brother heard him, and he ran over, and his brother, got down and was trying to press up against his chest to stop the blood from coming out. I heard his brother telling the story with the mom right by him, and she was just sobbing the whole time. And he got to the part where he was, holding something, and he was like, I'm gonna spare my mom, and I'm not gonna be graphic about this, but I was holding his chest, trying to stop what was coming out of his chest, and you can imagine what was coming out of his chest. I don't really know what was coming out of his chest, so if you know, put it in the comments. What blood? I mean, I don't know. Is something else come out your chest? Was the heart coming out, or was tissue? I don't know. Or was it just the way it was coming out? But that's what he said. He said, if I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but you can imagine what's coming out of his chest. And he said, but I looked at Austin in his eyes, and I watched his soul leave his body, and my soul went with it. So that was the twin brother that held his twin while he died. And it happened within minutes. The kid that stabbed him took off. He tried to leave the stadium, and somebody, I think it was maybe a teacher or a coach or something, figured out what was going on, the commotion, and said, stop him, to another teacher, stop him, don't let him go out. I think he just stabbed somebody. And so the cops went up to him, and they said, we think we have our suspect here. And he said, I'm not a suspect, I did it, I stabbed him. He confessed. Well, what's going on? I mean, to me, would you think that that's pretty straightforward? What would you think? I mean, you think that who was in the wrong? I mean, for me, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, the kid that was in the wrong tent was in the wrong. You can't meet somebody who shoves you with a knife. Those aren't equal forces. You can't, he could shove him back. I mean, I'll even give it to this. He could punch him. He could escalate it one level. You don't go from a shove to a stab in the heart. So that's pretty straightforward. However, because of the society we live in and just the ridiculousness, I mean, I don't mean to be that way, but I just am in disbelief at where people's brains are. But this has turned into a race thing, because the guy that stabbed was black, and the guy that was the victim that died was white. So this has turned into race wars, and the black, not all the black community, but is a community of black people that are supporting Karmelo Anthony, and they are supporting the idea that he acted in self-defense. Somehow they've made the narrative that he was threatened by the brothers, or he was being surrounded by people, or I don't really know. But I mean, they've already had the trial, and nobody had that story. Everybody had this story that he was taunting Austin. He was, daring him, like, touch me and see what happens. Like, like, I don't know. I mean, if you were scared for your life, which is what you would need to be in order to justify stabbing someone, then get up and leave. Why are you under the tent that you're not supposed to be under? So it's really hard to buy the idea that he was scared for his life, because he went there and he's being told to leave, and if he was scared for his life, he'd take that as a fucking, okay, I'll leave. But he didn't. He stood his ground, and so that's what the black community that is supporting him. And I guess there's, I don't know, the people that I'm seeing are black people, like on all these protests and stuff. Basically, they raised $650,000. His mom started like a GoFundMe or something like that. I don't think it was GoFundMe, but it was something, one of those platforms. And she put it out there, and they've raised $650,000 of people that support Karmelo and are saying, want him to be acquitted. Well, the trial has happened, and he was not acquitted. There was, people testified. There were black people that testified, for one thing. And the black people had the same story as the white people. And the story was all around the same. And that is that he came and sat under somebody's tent. Why? I don't know. Whether he was invited or whether it was the rain, whatever the deal was, he was sitting in the wrong team's tent, which isn't like against the law. It's not like this big deal, but it's just like not something that is customary at these track meets. So the two brothers that were told, you be in charge, hold down the fort, I'll be back, by the coach, told him, you got to leave. This is not your school. You got to leave. And he wouldn't leave. He didn't budge. They said, you got to leave. Other people chiming in, you got to leave. Other people for that school. Then one of the twins approached him and said, you need to leave. And he was like, make me, touch me and see what happens. And he had his hand in his backpack. Everybody said that too. And so Austin said something to the effect of, look at you, you got your hand in your backpack like you got something in there. You ain't got nothing in there, or you ain't gonna do nothing, or whatever. And shoves him, and he stabs him in the chest. And so I just told you the story again. I'm not sure why, but I guess what's shocking to me is I'm gonna put some clips. I'm just going to put some clips of the things that I've seen where I'm like, help me understand. If you understand where these people are coming from, help me understand, because I don't understand. I don't understand some of the things that are being said. Like, they are dogging this kid, a dead kid. They're dogging him. I mean, making up lies about him, slandering his brother, saying that they're white supremacist, terrorist or something, like, when there's no, I don't know. Maybe they do know him and they are that. But from what everybody said, that they didn't know each other prior to this event, this event that took place. But they're calling him all kinds of names. They're attacking his character. As far as I'm concerned, as far as I know, both the people involved, the perpetrator and the victim, were really high performing students, like straight A's or AB honor roll, and they were both athletes that were very, very talented athletes. So it's tragic from the angle of one kid lost his life. Actually, two kids lost their life, because Karmelo, this is why everybody's in an uproar, is Karmelo was not only found guilty, but he was sentenced to 35 years in prison. And people just don't think that's fair. I don't know how I feel about it. 35 years is a long time. But he killed somebody. Now, I don't think that he either wasn't thinking through, or he was really trying to prove it. He made a foolish decision. I don't think he went into the tent with the calculated plan to kill this boy. But I think that he made a foolish decision when he started challenging him. He didn't want to be punked out, so he wasn't punked out. And it's tragic, because now he's going to spend the majority of his life behind bars. But anyways, that's the story. I'm not even gonna comment on the things that I'm seeing online. I'm just gonna post it. I'm just gonna show you some clips that I've seen, because I'm like, what in the world? Like, I'll just say this. Sometimes people do things not because they're racist. They're not doing them because they're racist. They're genuine. I've been accused of doing something because I'm racist, and I'm really not doing it because I'm racist. And it's not because I have an unconscious bias. I'm aware of that, and I try to hone in if that's ever happening. But I literally will do something because of some other reason, and I'm accused of being racist. I think that's a very, very convenient go-to at times. Here's my thing. If we want racism to go away, we have to stop obsessing about race. You know what I would put on here? I probably have in a video somewhere in the past. It's, what's his name? It's the video, I am not racist. I'm not racist. What's his name? I can't think of the artist's name, but it's a pretty good video. I might put it up, even if I haven't put it up before, just so you can see it. But anyhow, that's all I gotta say. I'm gonna summarize everything by saying, please stop. Please stop. Everything doesn't have to be about race. Everything isn't always about race. Yes, sometimes it is. Yes, sometimes racism happens. I do think racism happens in all directions. I do think that white people can suffer discrimination. I have before. It's atypical, but it happens. So I think we need to stop and just stop having these expectations for another race to treat you a certain way or to be a certain way, because what happens is you act as if they are that way, and then you end up manifesting that reality. So that's all I got. Peace, love, hug your neighbor, teach your kids right from wrong. And that's all I got. Bye.
Karmelo Anthony stabbed Austin Metcalf at a track meet, April 2024, a high school track meet in Frisco, Texas. 17-year-old Austin Metcalf was under a tent when an argument broke out with a fellow competitor named Karmelo Anthony. Anthony pulled a knife, one single stab to the chest. Austin Metcalf died right at the scene. Anthony claimed self-defense. Prosecutors called it unprovoked murder in front of hundreds of witnesses at a school event. The case went fully national. Protests formed outside the courthouse. His bond was then reduced, allowing him home under house arrest while the trial was pending. June 9, 2026, guilty verdict. The jury deliberated less than one full day. He got 35 years in prison. Austin's mother addressed the court directly. For journalists and activists, this is a story. For our family, this is our reality.
I had a little bit of sorrow because I'm human. And that poor boy is fixing to experience a life that I would not wish upon anyone, but he deserves what he gets. Because what it boils down to for me is this. Austin will never walk through that door again and never give me a hug. This morning was the first day I woke up with a feeling of peace, comfort that I haven't experienced in 14 months. And I felt Austin give me a hug. And he told me, "Pops, it's gonna be okay."
And what do you attribute that good feeling to?
God.
Free Karmelo! Free Karmelo! Free Karmelo! Free Karmelo! Free Karmelo! 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 What do we want? Justice! What do we want? Now! What do we want? Justice! What do we want? Now!
As always, our queens is on the front lines, ready to represent the mothers, the sisters, the cousins.
What do you want us to do?
Go home and
What do you want us to do at this point?
So go home and sit down.
I'm lost for words. I don't know what to do. I got 5 boys. I don't know what. I ain't got nothing to tell them no more. You can't walk away no more.
Rest in peace. Ron Martin.
My life don't matter.
I'm out there. I'm saying that. Because y'all want to play these games. Y'all want to play these crackhead games, so I'm going to play them. White lives. How about that?
We're just here with press just to record and talk to you guys and see what's going on. Okay.
We don't like the verdict. You came out our face now. Go ahead on.
Okay.
Take your ass home.
They don't want to.
Whoa.
Where y'all white people at? If you love Austin, you would be here.
I don't have an opinion. I don't.
Just like Karmelo was doing. I'm glad you just said that. That's what Karmelo was doing. Protecting his family.
Never you are a fool. You are no man. Because when a man steps up, what do? He would have got I've already done this with your kids. Same energy with me that you had with her. On the clock, chilling. With your chest. Because now there's room and opportunity. Ain't nothing but air and opportunity. Do something. The same thing that you were gonna do to her, we both got our hands behind our back. Let's have a conversation. Why did you get in her face? Why did you get in her face? You did. You approached a black. Don't do that. That is a woman. 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 That is a woman.
If evidence shows that he did not, no, we're going to stand by ours regardless. They stand by theirs.
All right, time out.
Stepped up over there, asked him to move, got aggressive, he grabbed the bag, and then I whipped my head around, and then all of a sudden I see him running down the bleachers, grabbing his chest, just blood rushing out. You know, he said, he got stabbed, First I froze for half a second, and then I saw him about to fall. I went to go over there. I grabbed him. I see this stuff. You can picture what happened when what was coming out of his chest, and y'all can visualize this stuff. I don't want to put that on my mom right now, but I pushed my hand on there to try to make it stop, and I grabbed his head and I looked in his eyes. I just saw his soul leave, and it took my soul too.
Well, for the first time since his conviction, we are hearing from the parents of Karmelo Anthony. He is that Texas teenager who was sentenced this week to 35 years in prison for killing fellow high school athlete Austin Metcalf. Prosecutors argue Anthony intentionally killed Metcalf after being shoved by him and his teammates at a Dallas area school track meet. His lawyers plan to appeal, saying prosecutors wrongly excluded black people from the jury. CBS News spoke exclusively to Anthony's parents this morning.
Didn't intend to hurt anyone. My son was defending himself.
What do you say to his grieving family?
It's unfortunate to where nobody wins. We've all been hurt by this. Everybody.
Well, Metcalf's father called the sentencing bittersweet, saying he wouldn't wish it on anyone, but also says his son will never walk through his doors again.